Last week, we brought you a review of the Ryzen 7 9700X, the latest release in a seemingly long line of rather boring new CPU launches that offer minor upgrades to existing products. In short, it's fair to say we weren't particularly impressed by the small increase in performance it offered over a range of benchmarks, but more so with the gaming performance. So we went back and retested with PBO, as we were called out for not enabling it. However, since PBO also works on the CPUs that it's replaced, the performance gap remained basically the same. So here we are again, trying to milk the views. Find the performance that we all feel should be there. Surely there's some magic bullet in the settings that will make the 9700X shine brighter and make the upgrade, well, worth it. Well, according to a recent feature on Tech Power Up, the secret lies in disabling SMT. So we thought we'd go about testing it ourselves. Historically, SMT being disabled has improved gaming performance in some games and decreased it in others. So that's what we're going to try out today. But before we get into that, here's a quick word from this video sponsor.
I'm never going to be an esports gamer. I never get any kills.
I wouldn't be so sure of that.
Is that Andy Raffel from eTeknix.com?
Yes, my son. It is me, Andy Raffel from eTeknix.com.
What are you doing here?
I'm here to bestow upon you a gift that will transform you into a true gamer. With a 24.5-inch Full HD screen, 240Hz refresh rate, 0.5 millisecond response time, AMD FreeSync Premium, and height adjustability, you'll be gaming in the big leagues in no time.
Thank you.
No problem, my son. Why don't you check out the link in the description below to find out more.
Simultaneous multithreading, or SMT, is a process that allows a CPU core to operate multiple jobs at once. And while this does have performance benefits for most cases, disabling it is sort of like forcing the CPU to focus more specifically on a given task. But are users expected to enable SMT for productivity and then disable it when they want a game, then put it back on when they're done? Well, that's a bit of a clunky process, and one that requires a system reboot too. So it's not likely that they ever will. We're also under no illusion that the 9700X has a lower TDP, so it's not all about performance. But, well, we are, so we want to try and get the most out of it. We've also retested with PBO set to max limits and the same, but with SMT disabled too, to give a much broader spectrum of results. Honestly, if the performance isn't here, well, it isn't anywhere. And we're not going to shine coal into a diamond with any more convoluted BIOS settings, though I am currently working on a 5.3 GHz all-core overclock, so maybe I'll make some content on that too soon. With that in mind though, let's get to the benchmarks, as I'm sure you're eager to see results. And while I guess this is primarily based around gaming, I did actually want to show synthetics as well. To test, we used the MSI X670E Ace motherboard with 32GB of G-Skill Trident Z5 Neo 6000MHz CL30 memory. For all of our testing, we used an Inno3D RTX 4090 iChill X30C to rid the system of any GPU-based bottlenecks, and the latest version of Windows 11 was used with the latest drivers. Because we are talking about the CPU and we are looking at mainly gaming performance, we have tested at 1080p because this is really the big focus, as this is where the CPU utilization is at its highest. We've tested the processor in a total of 13 games, as well as a smattering of synthetic benchmarks, and if you want to see all of our testing data sort of in your own time, then we will be putting it up onto our Patreon, where you'll also get a ton of other cool and exclusive benefits, as well as helping to support everything that we do on the channel, and the link for that is down below. So with that out of the way, let's get into those glorious benchmarks. Starting things off with 3D Mark Time Spy, disabling SMT has quite a detrimental effect to the tune of 12%. Enabling PBO on max limits does push performance back up by 2%, but for the best performance, at least in this test, we'd advise to just straight up enable PBO with no other changes. Moving on to Blender, and it's a similar story. As expected, that the 9700X performs worse with SMT off, as it sees a hit of 26%, and enabling PBO on max limits further drops performance by 9%. So again, the best you can expect with the 9700X is to straight up enable PBO and not touch anything else, beyond going further with a curve optimizer that could net some further but still small gains. In Corona, it's the same again. This time we see a 55% increase in render time by disabling SMT, and PBO Max along with SMT disabled sees things drop another 12%. If you hadn't noticed the trend so far, the 9700X with PBO is the best outcome at 66 seconds to render, but SMT could help more in terms of games that we will be looking at shortly. In V-Ray, we see another large drop in performance with 29% less V-samples compared to the stock 9700X result. And then, combining SMT disabled with PBO on max limits, that drops by 6%. while PBO gives our best result at 17,986 V samples, which is very similar to PBO on max limits and a nice uplift from the stock score of 15,539. Cinebench originally came in with a multi-core score of 19,804 and PBO Max saw this increase. And then with SMT disabled, as we're talking multi-core, that score dropped by 24%. Though on this occasion, PBO at max limits did see it recover, but only by 5%. The single core score didn't move much with just a margin of error 1% between the stock results and SMT result, but the best balance of multi-core and single core scores come in when PBO was set to its max limits. Our last synthetic benchmark is Geekbench, and here again we see huge drops in performance in terms of the multi-threaded score, with the 9700X with PBO enabled coming in with the best performance, while SMT drops performance at quite a hefty level, though single-threaded performance again stays within the same range as the PBO score, but native stock settings again seem to be the best for single-threaded performance. So now the big one, gaming, and starting things off with a Plague Tale, and in this game we really are limited across the board across all of our CPUs. It's a game that we've used in all CPU tests, but may re-look at the settings or scene that we use to try and differentiate our results. But we can clearly see that any change to the 9700X makes no difference outside of margin of error. In Cyberpunk, our 9700X originally came in at 99 frames per second, and it's here where SMT does absolutely nothing, apart from see our 1% low drop by a pretty staggering 10%. Luckily, enabling PBO on max limits does bring things back up again and beyond the stock result, as it now comes in 5% faster, though PBO with max limits is still the winner, as that packs another 7% performance over the stock results at 106 FPS, and with a slightly stronger, but still small, 1% low. Enabling ray tracing naturally sees performance drop, but what's interesting here is how PBO matches with the stock result, while SMT, PBO Max, or a combination of the two see performance drop, and in some cases by 14%. So I guess disabling SMT isn't looking to be this huge saving grace that we thought it may be. In F123 we do see an 8 FPS gain when disabling SMT, but at over 300 frames per second that equates to just 2% and comes in nigh on identical to the PBO and PBO Max figures. So for the sake of the gains you see, it doesn't seem like the juice is worth the squeeze, at least in this title. In Hogwarts is another case of SMT being disabled not doing anything of any substance, as we see a single FPS variance to the default result, and PBO Max this time comes out on top, though we're pretty high in terms of performance anyway, so any small difference wouldn't be of notice to the gamer playing. Booting up Spider-Man and we finally see a game that's able to utilise SMT being disabled, as we now see an 11% increase in frames over the stock 9700X result, and enabling PBO at max limits in conjunction with SMT being off increases that performance, albeit by a 1% margin. But it does mean that the combination pushes out 13% more performance over the stock result of 184 frames per second. Enabling ray tracing and we see a similar trend with SMT being disabled, giving us a 3% uplift, and combining that with PBO at max limits sees that increase again. But we're then at a point of margin of error. PBO set to max and keeping SMT on is the best result here for the new Zen 5 CPU at 124 FPS, so it seems that the CPU knows better at automatically adjusting than potentially what the user does. Flight Sim is a very CPU intensive game, but in all honesty, the 9700X just runs out of steam, and nothing we do to push the performance is of any significant importance. At most, we're talking a couple of frames per second with SMT off and PBO maxed out, but even then we're talking margin of error, and retesting could garner the same, or at least similar results again. In Ratchet & Clank, again, performance is very close between all of the various scenarios of PBO, PBO Max, SMT off, combined with PBO Max, and the stock result too. So there's nothing really much to say, other than performance doesn't really change, no matter the situation. Then, when we enable ray tracing, the numbers are different, but it's a very similar affair, with a small uplift with SMT off and PBO set to max. But we're talking minor numbers that can be deemed as margin of error, so it's nothing to jump off your seat about, as it equals less than 1%. Remnant 2 is another game that is very CPU intensive, and due to that we start to see some sizable uplifts in performance. The 9700X came in originally at 151 FPS at stock defaults, while disabling SMT saw that increase by 11%, now at 168 FPS. Though that's where our performance gains end, as combining it with PBO on max limits saw the result come in identically in both the averages and the 1% lows. Shadow of the Tomb Raider saw a small margin of error increase with SMT disabled, but it's the combination with PBO set to max that saw the bigger gain of 5%, now at 243 FPS. But this matches the PBO max result without SMT being disabled, so it's clear to see that it's PBO giving us the gain and not us disabling SMT. Lastly, in Starfield, we again see uplifts coming thanks to Precision Boost Overdrive, though we're only talking up to 3%, while SMT has the opposite effect and sees performance tank by a pretty staggering 18%, with PBO Max being the only thing that raises performance back up again, but only by a small margin, and SMT on this title should be avoided at all costs. So looking at individual data, let's break it down into two sections. The first being synthetics, which in anything that utilises multi-threaded utilisation, SMT being disabled showed some really big dips in performance, but nothing beyond what's expected when you're literally telling the CPU to stop utilising its ability to run multiple threads per core, and will instead only run a single thread per core. So with the 9700X, which has 8 cores and 16 threads, the machine now sees it as only having 8 threads, essentially. In gaming though, where most games are geared towards a smaller number of cores or threads, you'd expect, depending on the game, to see an uplift in performance, if it's able to put more focus on the relevant cores. And sadly, when it comes to performance, we've seen some good, some bad, and well, some ugly. But when you average it out, the impact is actually, pretty underwhelming. The AMD Ryzen 9700X managed an average FPS of 160, which is just 7 FPS above the performance of the 7700X, so not exactly a huge leap. But that's just the base performance. When we enabled PBO, the 9700X increased its performance to 162, again a very small improvement of just 2 FPS. Not really much to talk about there. So we tried it with SMT turned off, and that saw the performance increase to 163. Again, that's pretty much within margin of error, and nothing you would really notice in real-world usage. What's even more surprising is that with SMT off and PBO set to max, the performance is back at the original 160 FPS average. That's right, turning on all the performance boosting technologies gave us the square root of absolutely nothing when we, average out the gaming performance. And due to that, the cost per frame does move around, but we're talking a cent or two here and there, kind of making this whole experiment mathematically pointless, unless you play Spider-Man and want that big gain, because that really is the main game, I guess, along with Remnant 2, that saw some fairly healthy uplifts. Sadly, games like Starfield brought that back down again, hence the results being so close. So I guess you could take Starfield out and then things would look a little bit better, but it's still not really going to make that much of a difference. What I'm trying to say, I guess, throughout this whole thing is SMT gave with one hand and it took with the other. Now, the big stark result on this chart, though, is the 7800X 3D, which is just sitting there, obnoxiously faster than everything else. And did that require a lot of trickery to get the performance to work, like we had to do with this? PBO, PBO Max, SMT, sure, you could do a curve optimizer and things like that. But with the 7800X 3D, no extra trickery. It just did what it was meant to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm more than aware that the 7800X 3D is a CPU aimed at gaming, and the 9700X isn't. It's more of a all-rounder, but it's not my fault that the 9700X and 7800X 3D are so similar in price. So if you were eyeing it up, of course I'm going to be honest and tell you to pay $16 more and just grab that, because on average it is 14% faster and comes in cheaper in terms of the cost per frame. Now, if you don't want to spend that much, then yeah, just get a 7700X, which with PBO, even at default levels, isn't too far away from the 9700X and will save you $70. Sure, it will cost a little bit more money on electricity, but we're talking pennies or cents. Now, I set out to test this because I honestly thought, mainly based on comments from our viewers, that I must have missed something with the 9700X. That's why we did a re-review, and we tested PBO, but then took it one step further with this re-review. Yeah, you get it. By disabling SMT. And then, because I didn't want to have to go through the pain of talking about PBO again, we combined them. And even that wasn't enough to really do things justice. Yeah, at this point, my original verdict still stands. And even though we don't have any other Zen 5 parts right now at the time of filming, and you can blame AMD for that, I'm pretty sure that they will follow the same trend and be lackluster in the same fashion, at least in terms of performance. Sure, we can expect, much like with the 9700X, that efficiency is better. But putting my mind into kind of that of the consumer, I don't think consumers, and mainly gamers, care about efficiency as much as what AMD think they do. They want raw performance and a generational uplift. And while AMD promised an IPC improvement, that doesn't translate natively to games. And that's where, I guess, AMD's biggest consumer market base is. Now, going into this, and I guess the reason we have made quite a bit of content on the 9700X is that I do feel for gamers who are looking at buying Zen 5. I really do feel for you. And mainly, yeah, the 9700X. It's not the best move AMD has done. And in a time where Intel were having their own fair share of bad press, this could have been a pivotal time for the Red team. And sadly, that's just not happened. And I can't see a way that AMD can really redeem Zen 5, short of severely dropping the price or somehow unlocking performance. And I think the former is going to be the easier one, even if it's going to hurt them financially. Luckily, we're going to also put that to the test soon, as, like I mentioned, we have overclocked the 9700X to 5.3 gigahertz on all cores. So make sure you stick around for that one coming up soon. I won't give any spoilers, as much as I'm tempted to. It's not great. Now, for now, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, a like and a sub to the channel would be amazing. And if you love what we do, then consider supporting us over on Patreon, where you'll get access to exclusive behind the scenes content, a super special area over on our Discord, access to our testing data, and much, much more. The link is, as always, down below. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.